All right, guys. So this is the tax withholding estimator. If you Google W-4 calculator, IRS calculator, you're going to find this, but I will include a link below this video in the text. So you can come here essentially if you want to estimate the total amount of withholding and make sure that it's as accurate as possible. And you can kind of see what refund you might receive versus not, okay? So what this asks for is a number of things, but it takes your pay, the pay periods, like if it's every 2 weeks or every other week, takes the total income, and then adds all your deductions that you put in there and things like that. And it spits out your total tax liability plus how much you should have withheld per paycheck. And then that's what you enter on your W-4. Now, this is what you need ready. Pay stubs for all jobs, other income. Okay, you need the other income numbers if you have from other side gigs or whatever. And then your most recent tax return, okay? And then you just click go ahead and use. So it's going to walk you through all these. So let's say I'm married filing jointly. Do you have a job that regularly withholds? Yes, we do. We've got W-2 jobs. Any of these that apply, right? Like I mentioned, if you're 65 or older or blind, then you get a higher standard deduction. So none of these are mine. And then I plan to claim dependents on my tax return. Yeah, we have some kids. So I'm going to get hit next. Okay, income withholding. How many jobs will you have where income tax is withheld? So let's say I have 2. First income source. So I'm going to fill this out. I'm going to have it all year. It's a salary. I'm paid, let's say every other week. And I just had my last one at the end of March. Okay, so I'm just going to throw in a number here. So 3,000. And then it's going to have, that's why you need a pay stub. The pay stub will show you year-to-date earnings and earnings for that pay period. So I'm just making these numbers up, but 3,000 for that pay period. And let's say year-to-date, I'm at, I don't know, $18,000. I don't even know the math. I'm just throwing in numbers. So based on this, your spouse, your income from this job is $75,000 this year. Is that correct? Yeah, sure. And then it's going to ask, how much in federal tax have you paid up till now, year to date? You can find that number on your pay stub. So let's say I've withheld already $2,000. So let's say it's $300. And then so far I've paid $2,000. Yeah, I contribute to a 401k. All of this stuff is found on your pay stub. Okay, so I contribute $150 to my 401k and I've paid in, $1,200. And I will get a bonus. My bonus is going to be $35,000. And they will withhold the appropriate taxes from this bonus. Yes or no? So let's leave that unchecked. Okay, there we go. Then you do the same with the second income source, same process. And then you just look at other sources of income. No, I didn't get any other income. So I'm going to hit next. So it's going to have me go through that. So I'm just going to click this back down to one income just to get through this. So here are the adjustments to income, right? We've talked about a lot of these. Student loan interest deduction, deductions for contributions to IRA or HSA, moving expenses for members of the armed services, alimony. Some of these I didn't mention earlier, but it goes through those. Hey, do you qualify for any of these? Yes or no? And there you go. So I'm going to say I don't qualify for any of those. And then it's saying, hey, do you want to take the standard deduction or itemize? Here's the standard, or you can itemize. If you itemize, then you need to put in the amounts, right? Gifts to charity, taxes paid, state and local. It's capped at $10,000. This should all look very, very familiar to you. And then other itemized deductions, whatever there might be. So tax, property tax, state and local, qualified interest you paid. So this would be mortgage amount, mortgage or other interest potentially. And then gifts to charity. Okay, the rest probably wouldn't qualify for. Medical and dental expenses, you could deduct it only if the amount you paid exceeds 7.5% of your adjusted gross income, which would be a lot. So if you have like a huge medical emergency, major medical expenses, then you potentially can deduct that, but they're not altogether extremely common, okay? So let's just add this in here. So taxes, yeah, I'll just add the cap of 10,000. Qualified interest that I paid was, let's say 12,000, and gifts to charity, I did 15,000. So it's going to come down here and say, hey, 37,000 itemized deductions versus 25,900. Then yeah, I'm going to take my itemized deductions. So I'm going to go ahead and add yes. Tax credits goes through dependent children. Enter the age the child will be. So you enter one for each child, right? This calculates your child tax credit. Now, during 2021, the government actually sent out advanced childcare tax credits, but it's really the same tax credit. It was expanded a little bit, But essentially, when you file taxes in 2022 in April, that all nets out, right? It's just they're advancing it to you, but it's the same tax credit you would have received when you file your taxes, and it nets out against your total tax bill. Anyway, so it walks through all that. Foreign tax credit, educational, retirement savings. If you put other retirement savings, like, hey, pre-tax IRA, you might enter in $6,000 into my pre-tax IRA, right? It's going to lower your income, lower your taxable income, and therefore lower your tax bill. And they want to account for that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then essentially what you get is this. So if I don't change my withholding, if I continue to withhold, I'm likely to get a refund. So I'm expected to have a $7,700 tax withholding based on the numbers I put in. My tax obligation based on all those numbers is $1,866. So I'm going to get a huge refund. So this is the point where I can say, hey, I actually want less of a refund. I want, like, let's say $1,000 or $900 in a refund. Well, then how do I adjust my withholding, right? It gives you all the instructions. It says, hey, your standard withholding is this much, blah, 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 how to adjust it. And you go through and it tells you how to adjust it. Step 3, which we covered in the last video, enter this amount for credits and other deductions, right? And then it will start withholding the appropriate amount so that you target around $1,000 of withholding, and that's about what your refund will be. Okay, so simple. I just want to take you through that really quick. It's very helpful to use. You can go back and edit it. Again, with 2 incomes, you can see how that factors in. But I want to show you that it's super easy to use. And I actually like this tool from the IRS, which is not altogether common. They don't usually make things easy, but this is pretty easy and very detailed. All right, so that wraps up the tax withholding estimator. See you guys in the next video.
Simple tools, real outcomes.